believe that about 40 people RSVP'd somewhere in that vicinity, so expecting a good group today. We have 15 so far.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. So. Okay, well, we're at 18. Let's see. Jay, should we go ahead and start? What do you think? I also don't want to make everyone who was on time wait for those who are late.
Another minute. Give me
Okay, one more minute because we're nice people.
Yes, yes, yes. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. I know it's the end of the year. It's the end of the month already, but Happy New Year nonetheless for those who haven't spoken to.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year and Happy New
Best
Baby.
wishes for the new year, everyone.
Oh, two more people. Oh. Okay. Well, we have hit, are we at 20 now?
Right there.
18 almost.
I did 6 pages, so you only have 4 pages of 6.
Okay, and then let's have everyone mute themselves except if you are talking, since I know many people are in offices. Ah, here we go. Now we're at 20. Yeah, I was thinking this morning about this being our first meeting in the new year, and how I don't really feel like it is a happy new year. And one of my board members right now, with everything going on, especially for nonprofits, a lot of uncertainty, and politically a lot of uncertainty also externally. But one of my nonprofits pointed out, in Sweden, you say a good new year, not a happy new year. And somehow I feel like I can own that more, because we can each work on this being a good year in our spheres, in the work we do. So a good new year to everyone. We have quite a few things we want to talk about today, but let's start off with announcements. So anyone who has something to share from their organizations. Oh, a few more people joining. Please feel free to share now. Oh, we can't hear you, Paulash, if you're talking. While Paulash figures out his computer. Anyone else have any announcements?
I'll go, Jeanette. It's more of a celebratory thing in nature, but the Trenton Michael Owen Collaborative gave out 3 loans to 3 recipients at the very end of 2024. So they will have they each got $2,000, and they have 2 years to pay it back with a grace period. So if anybody knows any Trenton area business owners that have been justice impacted or formerly incarcerated, we offer small no interest loans to them. So we're excited for our new recipients to be able to grow and shape their business in a new way. So
that's great news, Patrice. Could you share the list of business owners so that we can also make sure to support them? I know one of them owns a bakery or a coffee shop, so we can use that to order
That's correct. Yep. Sure.
events.
Do you want me to just post it in a chat or?
Yeah, or on Slack or both. So then
Oh, okay. I forgot about Slack. Okay.
I
Right.
think a lot of us did. So
Well, when I get a notification, I remember, but like I don't to use it, because So anyway, yeah, thank you.
Put it in the,
and
put it in the,
also, yeah, and they might be interested to join here and find out about resources. So get them connected in our network. Okay, any other? Oh, do you want to say something, Patrice? Okay. Anyone else have an announcement?
Is my microphone working yet?
Yes.
All right, fine. Workwell will be having a job fair at our site on 120 East State Street on February 11th. I will post the flyer in the Slack channel. If you have justice involved clients, please send them our way. We'd love to have them. There's going to be, I think, at the end, there's probably going to be about 10 organizations here. So please send us, if anyone is looking for a job, send them our way and we'll hopefully be able to serve them.
Thanks, Paulash. Okay, any other announcements? Kaylee, do you want to say something? I think Shay, is our PowerPoint presentation down, the deck?
no, I brought it down so we can see people's faces. So yeah,
nice.
yeah, it's fine.
Okay, very good. Kaylee, do you want to say something about the job fair so people can save the date?
Yeah, definitely. So we are going to have our next partner job fair at the Cure Arena. It's going to be on Wednesday, May 7th from 2:30 to 5. The flyers are still being designed, so the big announcement hasn't been made yet, but definitely put it on your radar. And so there's a bunch of partners. There's One Stop, there's DOL, the County Executive's Office, MCRC, the Judiciary that are partnering to do this. So for this event, it's not just going to be justice involved. It's literally for everyone, whether they're just like a person in the county looking for a job, if they have a child support obligation, if they are court involved, literally across the board. So if anyone is looking to participate or has any ideas, please reach out to me and let me know because we want to make it a successful event.
And the employers know who's coming, so they will be open to hiring justice involved individuals. And this is an event that we are sponsoring as MCRC, so we expect and hope to have everyone send their clients and come.
Yes,
The
please.
last event was very, very successful, and I think most of the people on this call were there. So great. Any other announcements? We have an event coming up on, Workwell has an event coming up on March 13th, and I'm also saying a save the date. We haven't finished the invitations yet. It's a panel discussion in the evening at 7 p.m. where we invite some of our graduates to talk about the theme is moving forward and what life is like and sharing in the community and raising awareness about the issues. So please save March 13th. Oh, Patrice, you have another announcement?
I do. So what is the time of the March 13th and the May 7th events?
So
March 13th is 7 p.m.
And then
the Workwell event.
The May 7th is going to be 2:30 to 5 at the arena.
2:30 to 5.
The flyer will be coming. Like I said, it's just still being designed, but yeah, 2:30 to 5.
Okay. Thank you. And then I also wanted to say that Pastor Karen Hernandez Granson, who is a member of the MCRC, will be celebrating her 30th anniversary from being the pastor at Westminster Presbyterian Church. There is a celebration on March the 2nd from 3 to 6 with a service and then food afterwards. Anybody that knows Pastor Karen knows that she's deeply passionate about social justice and about Trenton and just being fine, fabulous individuals. So if anybody wants to celebrate Pastor Karen's 30th anniversary of being the pastor at Westminster Presbyterian, the event is on March 2nd, 3 to 6. There's a service and then a meal afterwards. So if you have any questions or you want to reach out to me, please feel free to do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
A quick question, Terry West, can you give an update about the event you guys did with Father's Center? I think that was a few weeks ago, but I don't know if you could give an update on that.
Actually, if Felicia attended it
got it.
on the county's behalf,
Got it.
because she only did a small portion of that event. That was really the Father Center's event, and she just
Got it.
provided the expungement services. But I
Expungement
believe there
services.
were approximately 32 individuals that came in. So,
Got it.
and it was a short event too. It
Short
wasn't-
event, got it.
So, Felicia and I actually, unfortunately, had a meeting that I had to attend. So, but it looked like of the 32, there were very few that, or there were only, actually, let me rephrase that, a majority of them qualified for expungement. So, which was
Wonderful.
great to hear.
That's awesome.
Okay. Any other announcements?
Yeah, I have one more. It's not a job fair or anything like that. So starting February 10th, we're gonna have another employment support specialist. Her name is Diani Nazario. So she'll be starting here, and hopefully she gets to meet you all, and that'd be great. And then TAS, if anybody doesn't know, TAS has a new CEO. Her name is Amy Flynn. She brings like a wealth of experience from across the country. She was just with Meals on Wheels. So excited for you guys to meet her as well if you haven't.
Thanks, Sean. That's exciting. Lots of things happening at Task. Andrea is raising her hand.
Yes, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to everyone that is participating on Slack. This was my first time using it, but we were able to share our cohort on what's going on at Workwell, and it kind of went out and it went online, and we got a lot of different participants. So thank you all for using it, and let's keep using it.
Yes. Very good. Okay. Are we ready to move on? I don't want to miss anyone. Okay, Shay, do you want to pull up the deck again? So coming online. Okay, next slide. So the Reentry Coalition's resource project is going to be meeting soon. So there's no imminent updates right now, but we will be hearing more from them for the next meeting. So keep doing the work and we'll hear soon from you. Next slide. Okay. Kirsten, do you want to give a quick update?
Yes. Hi, everyone. And Kevin is also here on the call. I wanted to, thank everyone for involvement, and we're excited to announce that we have developed the initial customized version of the Mercer County Reentry Coalition OurREACH. So it is live to be used, but we want to refine it further with individual people's feedback. And just as a quick overview, we're not going to do slides or anything right now, but I can briefly explain right now. And then Shay and Jeanette had suggested that after this meeting ends, if people had time to stay, Kevin and I can show a quick preview of what that looks like. And then we would really look forward to hearing discussion both today, but then also to set up time with us to talk about how this could fit in with your own organization, and even if you just have other overall feedback. But in general, this has been set up, as you recall, this collaborative platform and app has the ability to have lots of different Jumpstarter milestones that are helpful for your clients. So things relating to career, housing, education, expungement, children, etc. And all of these milestones are can be personalized for that individual client, so that person has the ownership of what they're working on. And then those are also linked to the local resources. So there's been a whole setup of a provider corner with lots of resources, and I'm looking forward to coordinating with Andrea and others on the resources committee so that we can make sure that we're working to make sure that what you all are doing can be, placed into this platform as well. And then the way it's been arranged at this point is that each organization that wanted to participate would have access to all of those different milestones and resources for their participants. And then they can do specialized things for their own participants as well that fit with your curriculum. And then your reports would be, geared for your participants, not for other organizations. However, you can collaborate with other organizations through this platform as well. And we can have some anonymized data that could be across the coalition. So there's lots of, exciting ways to really support your programs. And that's kind of the overall message, is we want to support what you all are doing already with your clients and, case managers or mentors or coaches, career navigators. So Jeanette, anything else?
I'd like to say a couple of words of why we are excited about this at Workware. One of the important pieces for our program is follow-up with the participants once they graduate. And it has been a piece that we really struggle with. People change phone numbers, the email addresses, they don't check email. And with this app, our hope is that we can onboard people once in the program and that they will be incentivized by the different resources that are offered in the app to keep checking in. And it is a form of our being able to connect with our graduates. So this is for us, and then there's the added value. Not only are we keeping in touch with our graduates, we're also seeing how they are connecting with all the other resources and all the other organizations in the area. So I really encourage all the organizations to have a good look at this. I know a lot of nonprofits in Reentry are getting into apps like this. I just spoke with our partner in Philadelphia, and they just custom designed a similar app to what Kirsten and Kevin are working on. So the fact that they are doing a lot of the legwork for us and finding all the resources, and we as a group can brainstorm rather than each of us individually having to figure out all these different pieces, they are building it for us, and we can make it a richer app and experience by putting all the joint knowledge into this app. I really encourage people to take a closer look and have a conversation with Kirsten and Kevin. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, we really welcome everybody's feedback. I'm also going to put in the Slack and then even in the chat, our Kevin's and my combined Calendly. If somebody wants to just go right in and make an appointment, to have a more in-depth thing as well, we would welcome that.
Okay. Thanks,
Thank you.
Kirsten and Kevin. Okay. Next slide, Shay. I think you might be on anyway. Oh.
More, yeah.
Okay.
Let me write that. Okay, so I think a few months back, we had a conversation actually probably close to 6 months ago, and some of you guys were on, some of you were not on at the time, but about our voting process. One of the things that we want to continue to do with the coalition is to continue to grow participation, and especially within the leadership ranks, really helping us continue to move and drive this forward for us to all be successful in the work we've committed ourselves to do here in the county and beyond. And to do that, obviously helping this coalition grow is in helping us see how we can work together and continue to grow what we're doing. Jeanette and I, obviously, and some of the folks that helped start this coalition, we kind of bootstrapped a lot of the things that you see, on the front end. But as we're growing this, it's important that we pull on other talents, all right, and continue to pull on other folks. And many of you guys have raised your hands, to be part of our committee, and we're so excited about the energy that we see already. But just within what we're trying to, as we continue to formalize this organization, it's important for us to hold elections and to have some due process in the things that we do. We do have a bylaw that we will share at the end of this meeting as well. You could take a look at it as well. It's a living document, so that obviously can change over time. But what we have here is our goal is by March is to be able to hold elections and put in place our officers. Right now we have 4 roles that at least we're fielding at this initial round, which is our chairpersons, co-chairperson, secretary, and treasurer. Now I'll say something, we can't pay you, but I know it's going to be rewarding. But and everybody chuckled like, yeah, it's work. It's work involved in this, but it's rewarding. I believe it is something that will change you in the process of serving others, but also to really, I think we all could say that we've all benefited from what this coalition being able to bring together in this last, I don't know, year. We've been meeting up together now, a little bit more than maybe less than a year. But so I think we need everyone without belaboring the issue here to come together, help us with the process. So how does this work? Right in the link, I'm going to share a link with you guys.
I just shared it.
Perfect. And the link would allow you to be able to nominate yourself. Let us know if you're interested in 1 or 2 of these roles, right? Not more than 2, and you have one primary one you want to focus on. And then in the form that we've attached, you have the opportunity to explain why you feel you'll be the best fit for the role and the opportunity. We'll publish that to the rest of our membership, and a vote will be held in March to help us really kind of come to that next step for us. We'll talk about this again at the roundtable in February, just to kind of make sure if there's anyone who wants to come into the membership ranks, they could do that. You cannot vote or run for an office if you're not a member. So there are people that are right now coming to the coalition meetings that are not quite members yet, but you could take that next step. Those folks can take the step to be able to be part of that process. Again, this is not a Shay and Jeanette show. It's all of us coming together to lift up this work and making a difference in our world. I don't know if you're watching the news, but more than ever before, we need all of us working together. So this is what we have. If you have any questions around it, please let us know. We'll field this again in February when we have our meeting. I'll pause right there if there's any questions. Right. I think it's straightforward. I hope I get a lot of nominations, right? We get people raising their hands to come into the leadership ranks, and it'd be really helpful for us. Let me move on to the next thing that I have on the screen here, if you don't have any questions.
I will say we're very eager for more leadership. And more
Yes,
support.
we are very much
Please.
eager. Yes, please.
And it's
Please.
again, the more people sign up, the easier the work is, and we can share
absolutely.
the responsibilities among a group of us. That's the goal.
Yes, absolutely. So, has anybody been enjoying Slack? Who even knows what Slack is? I see thumbs up. If you can give me thumbs up emojis, that would be huge. If you love Slack, if you can give me it's been great for those who've been using it. And if you don't know what Slack is, I want you to go in the link. We posted the link as well. Click on the link and sign up. you're going to have an opportunity to be able to see what's going on in the coalition. I know people send me information all the time to share with the rest of the group. You don't have to do that anymore. You can go straight there and post your stuff, and people will see it. Andrea just gave us a great endorsement. Andrea posted one of the programs that Walkwell is doing, and they got a lot of feedback. And so I encourage you all to jump on the Slack platform. If for those who might have blocked emails, so some of you that work for the government, you might not be able to jump on Slack. We'll probably have to find another way for you to jump on Slack, maybe using a different email. I don't know, but maybe there's a way to kind of work through that, maybe firewall with your particular HR. So I know that might be an issue, but let us know if that's an issue. We can obviously find another way, another solution for you with that. But Slack is a great platform for everyone. Andrea, you have your hands raised?
Yes, I do. If we're having technical issues, do we have someone that is a Slack professional that knows how to do some things? I just have 2 different emails on there. So I wanted just to go to one email. So I need some technical help. Anybody that knows about Slack.
I can help. And I know we have Paul Lash is experienced, Kirsten and Kevin are experienced as well. So we can always we'll be able to help you out with that. I think I know why you're getting 2 notifications. I think you have 2 emails listed, accepted, so we just have to take you off of one of those. So it can be done.
Shay, there's a question in the chat from Josh. I think it's about the
Is it Josh? What's the question? Is
there a plan to form a board, and would these be board officers' positions down the road? Yes. So great question. I think in the order of forming an organization like this, we have to kind of take steps. We feel like at this moment in time, I think before you can bring in a board, it's important to have your officers in place. Having officers in place, then you can then begin to look at a board and maybe where you're going to have maybe board in your board members and be able to go through that process. Even I know there's been a question around when are we going to potentially formalize as a 501(c)(3). You really can't. I mean, this is just from organizationally speaking, and I know probably some other smart people online here. You really can't take that on until you have the type of board formation to allow you to take something like that on. So in terms of the next step, Josh, that's a great question. Right now, once we're done with this particular formal part of elections, the next thing we're going to begin to look at would be putting in a board of directors in place. So right now, it's just to get our functions going and then kind of go to that next step. But great question nonetheless. Okay, we'll move on to the next slide. Yes. Not much there. I think we just continue the conversation. Okay. Let me go back to the agenda. Okay. So one thing I wanted to raise is our next roundtable in February, which I believe is on the 28th of February. Is that right? The in-person where we invite members. So please, where we invite anyone who's interested in reentry. We wanted to check in with the group about topics that people want to hear about. We've talked about this a little bit the last time. One thing that comes to mind is the political landscape that is changing. A lot of nonprofits are very concerned about funding. Is this something we should discuss further? Maybe if you know of someone who can present to the group, let us know. So yeah, that is one big topic, but anything else that people want to see addressed in February?
Jeanette, can I say something really fast? I don't want to be out of line, but it's Dr. Chelsea. Can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you. Go ahead.
So I can definitely address that stuff with the political concerns for nonprofits. So a lot of us don't understand politics, but I work with the government very closely every single day. And I can present on that. So, okay. And just to encourage us and let us know the truth of what's actually happening, so we're not afraid of, what they're trying to say. Okay. So
wonderful. So we will be in touch with you offline to make some plans for that. So thank you for offering to do that.
Question for Dr. Chelsea. Are you doing webinars or seminars about that topic?
You're muted.
I'm trying to unmute as I'm driving, forgive me. So I wasn't planning on doing that, because, you know, when I have to keep a lot of stuff confidential. But who would you want me to do a webinar? I guess it would have to be a niche group, like a very private group. I can't publicly speak on those things. I use wisdom and discretion with that type of stuff. So if you tell me this is a group like MCRC, I'll present to them. But if like publicly, I won't go live. I won't do none of that. You know what I mean?
Understandable. Thank you.
So, but we appreciate that you would speak to this group about it, and I think it will be very helpful as we all plan our fundraising for this year.
Jeanette, I wanted to bring up something as well. In lieu of what we're trying to focus on for the February meeting, which will be our first roundtable. I think that it's incredible. This is going to be an important meeting for us to set the pace for the rest of the year, right? And I think to stay encouraged, to get the facts right as we're looking at the rest of the year is important. And part of that is actually we've asked. It's not completely confirmed yet, but fingers crossed. I don't know if Tony or Tony or Fantasia is on the line right now, but we've reached out to Reverend Boyer from Salvation and Social Justice. They do incredible work, not just in Mercer County, but around the state, to come speak to the group as well. And so we're still waiting to see what his response would be. But once that is, I think it would be in line with that as well. It's Black History Month, but also I think most importantly too, I think one of the hopes of this group is that we have proper messaging in those meetings. Like what we do here is more planning. You know, we get behind the scenes, but when we get on that platform, because we have people that are coming from the community, I think it's important to continue to kind of give the right message. We don't want to inundate you guys with too much information, but I think people still come to those roundtables to get those information maybe that are not easily accessed. So be on the lookout for that. But as Jeanette said, we want to open it up. What else do you want to see in the February meeting and outside of what has been shared?
Can I just throw something out there real quick?
Yes, sir.
So I think, you know, Jeanette and I recently, visited the hub, and I think there's a lot of potential synergies and overlap between, what they're trying to do with kids that have been just and impacted, and obviously what we're doing. There has to be overlap. So, I know that Kara Melvin had shown interest in this group. She was really impressed about that. So I don't know if not necessarily the next one, but if it makes sense, you can tell me, just again, throwing it out there, if it makes sense for the group to hear what some of the initiatives and plans are for, the Division of Youth Services in this similar space that we're in. And again, how we can potentially collaborate on different levels where it makes sense to share resources, et cetera.
And I think it makes sense not just for youth, but in general to hear what the county's plans are. Terry, I don't know if that's something you could help us organize to hear for the year, like sort of a beginning of the year.
So just be, Terry, obviously I don't want to cut you off, but so Kara is like excited about this group and she's happy to come and talk. That's why I was really bringing it up, is whether she comes on to the next, February meeting or a different one down the road, round table or what have you. She's happy to do something like that. I think it would be a great opportunity. And then if Terry has something else too that makes sense, there's certainly lots of different topics to talk about.
Josh, what is her title or her position?
She's the Assistant Director of the Department of Human Services.
Okay.
And she handles youth services.
Right.
And Josh, I think you're right. I think she's the best person for this. And she's completely available to attend. she's very engaged. So I think, if we need her, she'd be a great person.
I think that, I thank you, Josh, for bringing that up, and obviously also echoing the same thing, Terry. But I think it's good. This is kind of what we want, because there are people you guys see in the county and outside of the county that you think are appropriate to be able to bring information to us. So I think what we can do is maybe we can take it offline and kind of see how we can, maybe she has a schedule if it fits for what we're trying to do in February. But I think it'll be good to maybe have her come to one of the roundtables, because that gives her the largest audience to be able to speak to and impact more people. And so if it's not February, definitely the next one we'll definitely try to get them in. But thanks for bringing that up. I see hands up. I'll pass it back over to Jeanette to manage that. Kevin and Kaylee.
Kaylee, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So I dropped a comment in the chat, but I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. Myself, Dr. Chelsea, and Felicia are on the subcommittee for post-release. So we're putting together essentially a large-scale resource list. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. So if everyone could reach out to me to just say how you want it worded in terms of what services your organization offers. I don't want to assume, and I don't want to miss anything either. So I dropped my email in the chat, but like I said, if everyone could reach out to me just so I can make an all-encompassing list. I just didn't want to forget to say that, so thank you.
No, thank you, Kaylee. And then this list will also be shared with Kevin and Kirsten to be added to the app. So it has a double function, I guess you could say. Kevin.
Yeah, what would be, and we don't have to do this at the next meeting, but I just wanted to plant the seed. This I think would be pretty cool. Attending, actually going to the coalition meeting, meeting folks in person has been amazing. And what I think would be really cool, and we could capture it, is somebody come up with sort of the architecture of 4 use cases, right? I love the fact that you guys have organized pre-release, release, and reintegration. But imagining set ahead of time and probably involving 10 different organizations as an example, right? But actually having like a panel walk through 4 use cases, right, of them collaborating together to help a returning citizen and literally walk through that, right? Because I think we're getting to that point, right, where organizations clearly are working together. But wouldn't it be cool where we have like a case example of 4 good use cases that showcase how the coalition, MCRC, is now working together on, maybe one scenario is dealing with pre-release, release, right? Another scenario could be release, reintegration, right? But they would walk through the phases. And so, I could see where 10 or, I know it might be tricky to pull together, but wouldn't that be cool for people to really see how it works and how the organizations are collaborating together? So just a thought and an idea that I think would be cool.
Thank you, Kevin. Audrey. And Audrey, I see that you also posted something in the chat.
Right, that's basically what I wanted to bring up is, when we were asking about directions, I put it in the chat, but let me just say it. We have a lot of organizations that are, returning citizen friendly as far as hiring, which is wonderful. But how can we, and this is something to think about for the coming year, how can we as the coalition start to reach out to other organizations to get them on board? Because there are so many skills and talents that returning citizens have that are transferable to largely any type of employment that these employers just don't know or don't see or haven't been, for lack of a better word, confronted with. I don't want to use the term confront, but I think everybody understands what I'm saying as far as how can we, start to expand out, to reach out, to bring more organizations to the table, more employers to the table.
And not just that, how can we educate them about also the advantages,
right?
Federal bonding, things that we as a group might need to also learn more about, so that we can talk to employers about it.
Right. And the research shows that, if you hire a returning citizen, odds are you're going to get one of the best employees that you have, and, there's so many skills that are transferable that these employers don't know.
Yeah. And maybe this can bring us to the topic So we have the February roundtable we need to plan, but we also in our last meeting discussed having a conference or workshop this year. So I wanted to put 2 dates out there, June 13th or September 26th, and then maybe employers. So we had said that we want a workshop that focuses on us as staff and an enrichment experience for staff at different nonprofits. But also maybe there can be a component for employers, a specific to educate employers about reentry. I don't know the best, maybe in the chat, if people have a preference, we need to create a board to really get this off the ground and plan this workshop. So first of all, the date. So June 13th, the 2 days that Shay and I were looking at, one would be at the end of, before the summer, before everyone breaks for the summer, so June 13th, or is it better to have it when everyone comes back in September? So if you have a preference, can people put in the chat if you prefer June 13th or September 26th, or if you don't care, that's great too. Then we'll just see, depending on speakers and other availabilities, what works out best. And feel free to jump in and just give your thoughts on this also.
No, Dr. Chelsea says she was going to be able to help us. I don't know if that's offer still on the table, and anyone else that has workforce development type of experience putting things like this together. Yeah.
I'm here. Yes, I'm definitely. I want to help do this. Like seriously, and I just me personally, June would be better for me, but I won't be available September 24th. I know that, or the end of September, I won't be available. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Based from the chat, it seems that June is the better date anyway for people. So, and then Sean was saying we could do have a poll. I hate that word. However you say that word. But I think we're already getting some good feedback here in terms of June being the preference. And then we will create a board or subcommittee for that, and they will come up with some themes and suggestions that we bring back to the group to finalize. So we have some time to plan that, but it will come fast. I know that. It's about 5 months away if we go with the June date. Okay. Any other questions or about both these? So both February, our next roundtable, and the workshop in June. Any other thoughts? And thanks for the feedback, Sean. Thanks for offering to help with that. We'll definitely take you up on that. So if you're interested, send us an email to help out with the planning for June. Send us an email. Kevin, is your hand still up or? No, okay, but Terry's hand is up.
I gotta take it back down. Sorry.
Well, one, having Chelsea involved is a great idea because I attended her event. I think Shay, you were there too last summer, and it was so well organized. I just want to make a quick suggestion. If we do something like that, we have it's called the Dempster Center, and it's where we train the firemen and the folks on the fire force throughout Mercer County. It has a large auditorium with a drop-down screen, a stage, everything you need, audio, visual. Then we have breakout rooms, and we could do breakout rooms. Those are the classrooms that they use for the firehouse. It's a facility that's free, lots of parking. So if you want to use it, I just need to make an arrangement with the Dempster Center, but it's a great space for us, and it's in Lawrence. So
that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
thank you so much, Terry, because that's of course the next big question. Where will we host an event like this?
Put us down. Just kidding.
Okay, do you want me to look into the 13th?
Sure, that would be wonderful.
And we can have it catered, but it has to be served in the kitchen, which they have benches and tables in the kitchen. So it's
okay. Well, then since it's all, then we need to
the rest.
Sponsors will be the next big thing who can help us so that we can offer some, we definitely would want to offer some kind of refreshments at least. I'm looking in the chat. Anyone else have anything?
If you haven't, please put your name, your organization and email in the chat for us, please. It's part of our roll call. Please.
Okay. Patrice, yes, Audrey will definitely be picking your brain for employers. This is great. Okay. Anything? I mean, it's 10:47, so we do have a few minutes still, but we don't want to keep you if we're wrapped up everything. This is really just a check-in meeting to plan for upcoming events. So any ideas and thoughts you have, any people you think should be presenting to this group, send us an email. And we had at one point 31 people attending, so that's a good outcome for a check-in meeting. The next event will be held at the what's the space called? The kitchen. Terry, isn't it called? Where we've
the county building in Lincoln.
Yeah, the Mercer County Office Extension at 1440 Parkside Avenue.
Which is where we've had our previous roundtable. So
I think we're
grateful.
scheduled for all those dates you gave me, right?
Yes, and the hub has asked to host us, so we might, they want just to raise their visibility, so we might have the April event there, but we will be in touch with you once we finalize that with them.
Okay.
But in general, it's good to have everyone knows where it is and to have that routine in the same space. So thank you so much for organizing that for us, Terry.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, if there's no other comments or input, then we can wrap up early today. Shay, anything else?
I'm going to, please, if you haven't signed up for Slack, the link is in the chat. If you don't have, I'll repost it. And then if you are interested in being part of our officers, definitely fill out the nomination form for us so that we can field you in our elections that are coming up in March. Yeah. Oh, and one last thing, please, if you're really interested in the Mcrc OurREACH platform, stay back to have a conversation with Kirsten and Kevin. It's a great platform. And I know that's going to be, it's a dream come true because, yeah, thank you guys so much. I want to thank Kevin and Kirsten for taking this on and really doing this for the group. I think it's going to be beneficial to us. So that's all I got.
Well, we certainly appreciate, Shay, you and Jeanette, and really everybody who's participating in this coalition. It's been so exciting to see all of this, the initiatives that are happening and the work that's happening for all of the returning clients and their families. And so we're really just trying to support that with technology.
Yeah, the one thing that's been really cool, and you'll see that for folks that stick around, is we've really been fortunate, privileged to have the Princeton University interns come alongside. They feel a kindred spirit. You don't see them on this call, but some of them are actually coming back this summer as well. And they are very dedicated to what's going on at this coalition. So they're not here, but they love everything. So you'll start to see some of that in the actual platform. So you actually have Princeton University pretty heavily involved, at least their interns at Lambda Data.
And we will be having several people from Princeton attending the roundtable. So they're aware of what's happening and very interested to get students involved as interns and in other ways in the community.
Yeah.
Jeanette, is that through the PACE Civic Center?
And Process. So there's another center that connects the community with professors and classes that they teach.
Okay.
So they will be attending and meeting nonprofits and wanting to see what's going on in the community.
All right, great.
The Process program is specifically geared where people are doing academic work as part of their classes to support efforts that nonprofits are, needing in the community. And so, and then what Kevin was referring to was through the Center for Career Development. Every winter, there's an opportunity to have, Princeton undergraduates as interns for organizations, whether nonprofits or companies, sort of as a career building opportunity. And then there's also the summer things that are through the various PACE programs, such as RISE and the PICS program.
Yeah,
And we will be inviting all of them so that they can present about the opportunities.
nice. And not to put Terry on the spot, but anyone that for the county where I don't know if there's an opportunity to request funding for like a fellow from Princeton, but having someone that basically almost like a full-time employee, depends who manages it, manages that fellow, and whether collectively the coalition could do that. But that's someone that's basically, you have to pay the full salary. It's like taking on a full-time employee. So how the financing of that comes together, and like I said, who manages it could be a little tricky, but that is an awesome opportunity for like $48,000 a year to get someone that's completely dedicated to it, passionate about it, and they're going to spend an entire year as a fellow trying to further the coalition. So just throwing that out there.
No, that's a great idea. We do have an agreement similar to that with Rutgers, the Rutgers Cooperative. And we do help pay the salary of two of the employees that it's a combined program between Rutgers and Mercer County. And we pay half the salary of two of those employees. So
nice.
Yeah, that's something I have to discuss, of course, but it is a good idea.
Sure. So I'm actually meeting with the Princeton Alumni Corps next week. So I'll send you some updates and ideas after that, Terry.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Hey, Josh, I'll connect with you on that too. Because I actually used to be the executive director of that organization
awesome.
long time ago.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, great. That's exciting.
And that would help us really get this to the next level if we have someone who can dedicate so much time to this. Julia, you're raising your hand.
Yes, good morning, and thank you for inviting me. I was wondering, you mentioned about employer involvement, and have you reached out to the chambers or the county economic development offices, those kinds of things? Because they usually have workshops and seminars for employers on how to work with the population. I've attended one myself at the chamber, so maybe reach out to them or follow up with those types of organizations that really just focus in on with working with employers might be helpful.
So if I can jump in here, Jeanette, because you know what I'm going to say about that. So I brought it to the Princeton Mercer Regional Chamber's attention, and I think the timing of it and how it was viewed through their lens was like, oh, we just did a bunch of stuff educating our members on, reentry and the importance of it. And so I think that he missed that, like, hey, there's a group that meets every time. And I think the chamber, even being a member of this, would bring great value as, understanding the business climate, some of the concerns, and then potentially being that opportunity for us to, as a coalition, to use the chamber's network to do surveys and to try to just, directly address concerns that they're trying to overcome, maybe even help support some of the legislation that's out there, like Anthony Varelli is trying to do, corporate tax breaks for hiring reentry candidates, that type of thing. So, so I would say if anyone else is very friendly with the chamber, just say, hey, I'm not sure if you heard of this, but there's now X amount of members, there's however many, and maybe Jeanette can help with this or Shay can help with this. There's X amount of members, there's X amount of nonprofits that have been coming to these meetings. We think you'd be a great resource to join, and we think it would be helpful for you as well, understanding what's going on in this sphere of hiring and employment candidates. So anyone that wants to jump in there and sort of nudge Hal and his team to say, you might want to take a second look at this, that would be great.
And maybe if we invite them to present, that will
Yeah,
encourage
give them
them.
give them the floor. Yeah. So that's a great group, and I agree with you 100%. They should be involved, and not just for connecting to potential hires, but employers, but just for everything that they can do.
Yeah, to echo Justice's point, it's been a goal from day one to have them in our ranks. But I think it's obviously a work in progress. And Paul actually brought this up at the last meeting in December, really figuring out those, employers that are, second, reentry friendly, and begin to bring them in within our ranks, not just as passerbys, but as members, because that gives them more stake and buy-in to what we're doing. I know the African American Chamber is part of us, right?
Yes.
I think Carmen was on, so that's a testament to the work we're doing, and we continue to move that forward. We need more chamber.
Yeah.
She's raising
I
her
think,
hand.
Shay,
And
with
I was
you-
also,
I'm sorry, I said, I think, Shay, with your corporate background, maybe getting together and speaking with Hal English, who's the director of the president of the chamber, might be a good thing, because you're a business, he's a business person, he's representing a whole group of people. It might be a way that we can start that conversation.
Absolutely.
The other part of that pitch,
And he's very familiar with economic development because he used to work for the Department of Labor, and a lot of things he did there. So I'm just saying, having that connection, sometimes business to business talking to break the ice, so to speak, and say what we're all about and how we can support some of his businesses would be helpful, I think.
yeah, and just to add to that, the pitch is also that there's a bunch of nonprofits that are not members of the chamber that you might like and consider as being potential targets for the chamber. So it's not just, hey, can you do us this big favor? There could be a return on their investment of time as well. And that to me is a big portion of why they should be involved. It really could help generate stuff for them.
yeah.
If I may, Carmen Gates here with the African American Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey. We are members. I'm often on this committee called this check-in call. And I've been trying diligently to put a list together of offender-friendly offender employers, because we currently have a program inside the prisons that's going to start in February, late February, where I'm inviting employers into the prison to offer a promise of employment to those incarcerated that are scheduled to be released within 30 days. I'm looking for 5 strong employers to join me on this initiative. And so we are very involved. I know you said the Mercer County Chamber of, Princeton Regional, but I'm here to help with Hal's involvement, because we do have a relationship with them.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
That's a good synergy
I love
right
what
there.
your side is doing. You're clearly saw the value and got on right away. I just don't think that they understood what the group was doing. And so, yeah, you were saying, hey, we're involved with this. It makes sense for you to be involved with this. Would go a long way. And then Chase, if you guys are a sponsor of the chamber, or anyone that's a sponsor of the chamber, they have to listen to what you have to say. So anyone that's a sponsor, I would say advocate on behalf of participation as well.
Yeah. And then who can I get that list from? How can I reach out to these employers that are offender friendly?
I know we are working on a list, and we have people who attended the event that Kaylee had a few months ago. And then again, Paulash is hosting, we're at work where we're hosting a job fair. So attending this job, we can give you the names, but coming and meeting the people is obviously, if they're all in one place, that would be the easiest way, just to make those connections face to face. We're always open and happy to share the employees. The list is constantly evolving. It's a lot of work Paulash puts in. It's all building those relationships and educating employers. So it should be a group effort, and we should share those resources. And then you have some employers who hire one person a year, and then you have larger ones. And those are the ones we need to focus on, the ones that can go into a prison and who are hiring 50, 100 people and more.
Exactly. Okay, good. So we need some work in that space, because I have attended the job fairs in person, and the follow-up
You're on speaker.
is
But the ones that are re-entry focused are not that many. They're I've only ever attended one with Kaylee that's re-entry focused. Oh, and I should say the Father Center had one that was re-entry focused last year. But those, I mean, the general ones, everyone says what they say and what they do is not always the same. I leave it at that.
Yeah.
okay. Very good.
We definitely can have a more conversation around this, because there's more of a strategic approach we can take to really getting more people on board. Carmen, we had a conversation around this from the JP Morgan Chase standpoint. You guys know that we're very much into this, and we do this. This is not like lip service, but we're like on the ground doing the work. And so encouraging other employers to do that is important as well. And there's different ways to put pressure, especially when they've raised their hands at the corporate level, to help them actually leave that out at the regional and city level, right? To help people be hired. So we could have more conversations around that. But Carmen, I think I want to take that conversation, and maybe Josh as well. And then Julie, I think you brought us some great points as well. Maybe we can have some conversation and be more strategic around that. And Paul Lash, we need you as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Were you going to say something about that, Paul Ash, before I move on to?
I was just telling Carmen I gave her my email address. I was just saying to email me directly, and we can talk about what sector she's looking at. Because I mean, this is why I'm here at Workwell, and I've been building out our reach with employers, and our list is getting pretty good at this point. But it is, like Shay said, it is constantly evolving. But I'm happy to share with you the employers and do an introduction email so that it's not you just going in cold.
It is 11:03, but Terry has been raising his hand, so let's hear you, Terry.
Okay, I just want to bring up, I want to introduce just quickly my office mate, Anthony Carabelli Jr. He heads up the Office Director of Economic Development. And maybe he could pull together Hal English from the chamber, the African American Chamber. Carmen, you could be there. Maybe we could pull together some of the chambers and the local economic development offices together as part of that conference on the 13th. So here's Anthony real quick.
That's a good point.
Hi, everyone. I don't want to take too much of your time. Hi, Carmen. I see some familiar faces on the call. Feel free, though, to use this as Carrie's going to present some information to me after this call. Feel free to have us, our Office of Economic Development, as a resource. We have business connections through our chambers, as well as, just the events that we run and the business contacts that we build. So
your breakout session would be on employing former
incarcerated. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anthony.
All right.
Thanks, Anthony.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Great. We're definitely getting some ideas. And this is really what it's about. Let us coordinate and share the work. Kaylee, did you want to say something? You had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to comment to Carmen. Carmen, what I can do if you want to email me just so I don't forget, because I'm probably going to forget, I can send you the list of vendors that we used for the September 25th event that we had. I mean, you're going to have to go through it. There's about 70 vendors on there, but only a handful of them are employers, but there are like a direct contact person and their email and whatnot on that list. So I can send it over to you. Just send me a reminder.
Okay, very well. I have your email address, Kaylee. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. Well, thank you all for coming today, and we look forward to seeing everyone in person at our next meeting at 10 o'clock on the 28th of February. And then please stay on if you want to see the demo for the new app that Kirsten and Kevin are going to present right now. Shay, can you make Kirsten a host?
Yes, I can.
And you can make me as well, Shay.
If you could make both of us, Shay,
Sure,
Kevin,
no
and myself. Thanks.
Thank you for
And I know some
great
people may
meeting.
have, time conflicts, so we welcome folks to make separate appointments with us as well. Okay, I think that maybe this is the group, which is great. Thank you all so much for staying on the call. And I think, as I mentioned, we've really built this as a customized platform, but it's very flexible, and we really look forward to people's feedback. And it can be used by individual organizations, but then it has this really great coalition approach where if organizations did want to work together on things, that could happen. If we wanted to roll up data on a anonymized basis, that could happen too. But Kevin, do you want to share your screen and go into some of the elements?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And Kirsten, you can make Kevin your co-host. You have hosting.
Yeah, go ahead and make me, and then I can turn on the yeah, that way I can.
Yes, here we go. Is that working?
Yeah, I think so. So everybody can see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. Yeah, so wanted to just give you a very brief update. It won't be long, but want to give you some of the highlights. And I'm doing a split screen so we can go a little faster, but over on the left side is a view and a perspective from maybe a returning citizen that could be affiliated to an organization, right? And on the right side is going to be the organization. But you can kind of see here we're going to leverage the Mercer County Reentry Coalition OurREACH, right? So this is a platform that serves a couple purposes as we describe, and we're going to describe it in terms of that organizations, the nonprofits can really take advantage very quickly and almost jumpstart things that they might need, but customize it the way they want. So even though you see MCRC, kind of branded and labeled here, OurREACH, really this would be whether it's Workwell or different types of organizations, you can, it's almost a co-branding of multiple organizations that you really can, if you want to use it privately, if you want to be able to share with your, and this is the beautiful part, your coalition members, you have some synergies between, and we'll kind of show you that as well. So you can use it just sort of in a silo with your participants, or you can begin to even team up with your community partners, which is really, really cool, right? So, but with that said, I'm going to actually start with the participant returning, what we call participant, or I call returning citizen view, and this is over to the left here. And I'm just using Alex as a basis. And so this is really, again, on the left side, it's geared for engagement. So if anybody has a mentor organization or any type of organization where they're, and even as Jeanette had mentioned, maybe, you have a program, but you want them to be able to extend into the program, any type of program we can kind of customize. So on the left here, we've talked about this before, they've got a dashboard and really it looks at their milestones and their goals of what they might want to work on. And the beautiful part is for organizations, we want to make it simple. So let me just jump into something as an example, right? And these templates are pre-canned, but they can be quickly customized. But here's one example of Alex's, he's in a situation with working with an organization and preparing for a job search, right? So he goes into that, right? And very quickly, he has laid out all the things that he might need, right, in terms of preparing for a job search, right? And can kind of walk through that and research for local. So each one of these, as you can kind of complete them off, that the other organizations will be able to see kind of the progress that he's making. But also what's beneficial is that for any particular milestone, there's also integrated links. So any organizations that might be affiliated to that particular goal, here is an example. We have ISLES, we have Morph Mentoring, Workwell Partnership, Mercer County One Stop. These would be organizations that would work, and go hand in hand with the goals that this person, Alex, would be working on, right? So it's kind of bridging that to where, that way, and these all are going to be within the OurREACH system. So if you went on to more mentoring, for example, right, you stay within that, and then you can link right into that. So this and how they work and the data analytics and all that can be kind of collected on a basis. So this is just one aspect, so that Alex had his fingertips, right? And so if you think of an organization, they may have a key program milestone that each person would get. Let's say it's prepared for job search, right? That this really aligns to the nonprofit's program, right? And their goals, right? And they can see that and he can work on it. But more importantly, there may be, and I'm going to show you the robust set of templates that we built for for pre-release, release, and reintegration that it might suit them. And those things can be kind of assigned, and I'll kind of show you that. So I'm going to bridge over very quickly to Sophia, which is affiliated with the organization, right? And if you look, this is a kind of a dashboard of the different things that one can look at. They can look at all the users. They can look at by region, by goal type, all the activities. This is just kind of an example of a dashboard, but let me take you to some of the DNA of what we have here. So we've built templates, right, that can be customized, but at least launching jumpstart templates that can be used right off the bat. I just want to kind of go through some of them. And some of these were already assigned, right? But, there's a wealth of them, right? Seek education, lines with future growth. Register to vote, right? Receive veteran benefits. If I go into any one of these, begin process for expungement, right? There's a whole approach to expungement, right? And what that looks like. And there's organizations that also can help with expungement. So we've kind of captured all those. And you might say, well, I'm an organization and I want to tweak it a little bit. This is really good, Kevin and Kirsten, but for our organization, we look at this a little bit differently, or we have a set, within seconds we can kind of tweak it, but it's not like everything has to be started from scratch, right? So so if I go back to the template, you can just, it gives you kind of a whole process. We talked about prepare for job search, right? So these are all kind of labeled where, are they release related? Are they reintegration? Apply for healthcare benefits.
You okay, Nerelis?
What's up? So anyway, I'm going to go through some of the list here. You can just see the list in terms of what might apply for your organization. And the beautiful part about this, here's a prepare for post-release shelter, right? So some of this, even if it's pre-release, right, there are organizations and there are different organizations that would fit into call friends with them, understand shelter requirements. So part of this is even a step through of things for them to think about as they journey through, right? So if I'm back over here with Alex, right, Alex also might be dealing with just budget concerns, right? It may not be aligned exactly to what the nonprofit is doing, but we know this would be extremely helpful to Alex, that maybe they want to create and stick to monthly and weekly budgets, right? Budgeting, I do a lot of reentry, reintegration for a nonprofit. I actually mentor 15 men personally myself that are going through recovery, which is similar to reintegration. And in that, they, budgeting and understanding finance becomes really, really important. It's just one example, right? Now that might not be the thread of, like, this organization I work with is Adult Teen Challenge, right? That work journey through them. Their thread isn't necessarily for the budgeting, but now that they have, a kind of a jumpstart template that they can offer, that they know that a number of these men need this, right? That could be helpful in this particular, and women. It's really useful to be able to pull that in and say, hey, look, we have a guided thing that can actually help you on your own. And so that Alex can kind of pull that in at any point. But we have our main thing that we do, right? That's going to help you, meet your goals for the day. Maybe it is on the job search, right? So the primary function may be, they're in release, right? And they're working on, hey, research local one-stop career center, or ensure that your conviction, right, that does not bar you from jobs. Work with a partner to create a resume. So they literally will step by step, but just for the fact that the organizations now have other avenues to templates that they can grab at any moment to help the returning citizen. So that's a little bit of that. There's also the ability to collaborate with your partner. So if you look here, at any point, right, that, you know, you want to set up any type of group, right, you can do that within a very trusted, secure. So if you have community partners that, even if I'm an organization, a nonprofit, I have community partners I want to chat with, right, and again, this is part of the MCRC coalition, and you have members, now you can create dynamic groups, right, to support that individual. Or you could have an org support team, right, for your returning citizens. So you can set up that as well. So now all of a sudden, now they have potential legacy of support that, you know, maybe as, you know, they've graduated from a 4-week program or whatever, but they still want some support. They still want, where are they, right? So this offers that as well in a very...
So Kevin, you can just click on that to show that as an
Yeah,
example.
you can kind of conversations that are going on, right? You know, thank you so much. This is Alex having the conversation with, you know, and then there's, you know, this is also a community partner working with the different milestones. So we try to thread in collaboration where it makes sense. But again, just to recap, right? Every member that would start off with, we literally would sit down with an hour, right? Go over the templates that would fit for them. And let's say there's a template that doesn't actually fit exactly, right? Or they want something brand new for their program. They get the benefit of having all these potential templates that they can use for their returning citizens, or use for somebody that's in pre-release, right? Or whatever that situation is, right? But they can also customize their core program, right? In a very quick manner, but at the same time, get the analytics. And what's the beauty about this with the coalition is that, you know, the more that are signing on, the more power it has in terms of being able to collaborate across the organizations, depending on what stage they're in, whether it's release or reintegration, or maybe they're in a pre-release stage. So again, that's a very quick, I know we don't have a lot of time.
Hey, Kevin, do you want to just quickly show the language translation?
Sure. Yeah. And so what we've found too is, you know, the primary language, and we can do multiple languages, but Spanish is very paramount, important, really needed. So a lot of times they have it on their browser, but if they don't have it on their browser, obviously we can move this to Spanish very quickly. So that's also important in terms of the content and the type of information that they have access to. You know, Spanish is really important to have. There are other languages that we can look at that we actually have partnered with. I'm just showing you but that language translation is really important. The other thing that, let's say they just want to look at resources on their own, right? The power of the resources. This community assistance program right here is really valuable in terms of, hey, maybe I need food assistance, right? You know, what are the food banks in the area? What are the SNAP programs? What are the WIC programs? They would have, you know, anything Mercer County related or in the area with, you know, rental assistance is huge. You see earlier on, you saw sort of the announcement. You can put announcements on the site, but that becomes important. Utility assistance, right? Taking advantage of all of the utility assistance that's out there. So this really threads through any possible SDOH also as well. But more importantly, there's templates around there to kind of guide them through that. So the thing is, a lot of times what you find is you have core programs that are yours, but you can also benefit them from other social determinants of health issues that they might be dealing with, because we know they're dealing with them. You know, so there's educational ones. I talked about a little bit of, you know, in terms of, you know, job preps, GEDs, which is critical sometimes, vocational certs. All this stuff is layered in that they can have access, and a lot of it is actually Mercer County related. This is actually the provider corner of MCRC or the organization that they would want. And there's primary resources as well, like normal national, state resources. They're all in here as well. So we've talked a little bit about that before, so I'm not going to go into it, but they have access to that at any point. But the key here is
Kevin, just 1 second. Yeah. Like, I mean, just so people understand, like, you've been showing a lot of this on the provider side, but this is a collaborative platform. So like the phone view that Alex has over here on the left, like Alex, the participant, has access to all of those as well. Like the, you know, these provider corner resources, everything is all threaded in, you know, that he can look at as well.
Yeah.
I just want people to be, we're so used to understanding this like
Yeah.
split screen that this is kind of like how somebody might see it on their phone and they can search for stuff. And then with the milestones that he has, that he can set up on his own or that he could
Yeah.
accept from his mentor or his career navigator, those a lot of times are linked. So it just makes it easy for him to like click on and then go to that resource.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially when you're going in. And the other thing is, let's say they like, maybe they need help with seeking education. So this is a particular milestone, seeking education that aligns with future career goals. They look at this is something that really will be beneficial to me, right? They're looking at researching local community colleges, attending workshops or counseling sessions, selecting major, what links are helpful, what are the organizations that are going to help me get there, right, as well. So you're kind of tying kind of a step-by-step guideline of here's the type of education that could align to my reintegration goals and things to work through. So
Kevin, can I jump in with a question?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
we can, because when you look at the goals, it seems very broad and can be somewhat overwhelming. Could we, for instance, financial literacy, can we put in Shay's bank because we know that he will open a bank account, like very specific, like
absolutely
find a financial advisor, this is the one to go to, and here's his contact information.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the beautiful part, right? And it's very quick to do, right? So these templates are just that. They're templates. So let's say, hey, look, this is great, Kevin. I'll just give an example, right? Begin process for expungement. Let's just, for example, I'll just use this, right? And it's not quite hitting the mark. It's close, but it's, I want to add some specific things I want to get. So in this particular case, I just hit copy milestone template, right? At that point, right, now you have a full milestone here, right? This is how easy it is, right? And you can change this any way you want, right? I have full capability, right? I can change the name of the milestone if I want, right? I can go in, right? I can make a change to this, or I can add a goal, right? I can add a very specific goal, right? And you have the ability within seconds to add your own custom goal that would fit this, right? So, and you can do that really, really on your own. I mean, we can show you within seconds, but you can get and then when you're all done, right? When you're all done, this little part, you can make this as template, say, hey, this is something I really want to use now because this really fits our program, right? This is what we're going to see. You click on this and make it a template, right? You make it your own, right? So what we have here is a nice layout, but it very quickly allows you to customize something that works exactly for your organization. So that's a great point. And you can get really specific depending on, hey, look, this is really what's going to help us. And so that's the beauty of this, is that you have the ability to customize it exactly to your program.
Right.
And even like, I know Palash, you're like a career navigator at Workwell, and I know Maya, working with the higher expectations and other things at Homefront. The milestone that Kevin was showing about the preparing for career, again, that's sort of some general different steps that is over there. But if you had very specific steps that you take everybody through, if you want, you can basically customize it to those specific steps, so that then when you're having your conversations with people, it's really easy to have them check off things. They can be working on things on their own and so on. But if you think that you already have a process that works, then that's fine. You can, do some other kinds of things, and you can even, you could thread in if you wanted to have text messages or other things to go out as reminders for people. We didn't really even get into that, but we have the ability to do text messages, to put helpful videos up on the site. We already have some helpful videos up there.
And Kirsten, you mentioned that we can upload their resume and then maybe link it to our own database, so that when we do any changes, it will automatically, that's some things that you can discuss how to customize it for each organization.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
ahead.
I mean,
And
so
then
Alex
Paul
over
Ash
here
has his hand
Alex
up
can
too.
just go in and create, like typically it could be on his phone, it could be on his computer, right? He can create the file and he can upload any particular document, including a resume, right? Or any kind of form or process, select that, and then he can, I'm on a computer, but if he was on a mobile and he had that as well, or wherever that is, yes, you can upload that and you have sort of a database. And so that's just going to go to the owners, right? That would be assigned to Alex, right? So they're the only ones that are going to see it. So Jeanette, in your case, like that would, let's say it was one of your returning citizens or somebody that belonged to your organization, your training program, you're the only ones that are going to be able to see that information.
And then, yeah, we would talk about how that's another like different conversation in terms of connecting to existing databases that people have. And
Yeah,
that
I
would
mean,
be
the
more of
database is a different
specific.
story in terms of, like, let's say you wanted the information for Gary or whatever. Let's say they were aligned to your, these are the folks that were aligned and the type of information and the files that, this becomes then, we would have a conversation, really be able to port the type of things in your database. That's a little bit of a different conversation, Jeanette, in terms of, but the capability to be able to port this is pretty easy.
Thank you.
Paul Ash, you have your hand up.
Yeah. So my question was, like how granular can we get with the goals? Like, can we have a repetitive task that does not disappear from their counter until they do it? Like, my thought process is this: like for our program, they have to apply to 10 jobs. So can we have a goal on there that says apply to a job, but it does not go away until they complete it 10 times? Something like that. Like,
yeah, great question.
so they can monitor their own progress within our program.
Yeah, and that's really important. And you'll notice here, and I'll like sometimes the goal types that are either, what we like to say is healthy habits or recurring or one time. And you can really get what's nice is you can get a really quick view of like, are they sustaining their returning goal? But just how simple it is to set that up, right? So I'll give you an example, right? So let's say, I'm going to go back to the templates, right? And again, what's nice about this is that these are templates that have been set that give you sort of starter kit ideas like, boom, I can change these really, really quickly to the benefit of what I want for my program, right? That's the ease of use in the conversation that can happen. But let's take, I'm just going to pick a milestone. It really doesn't matter, right? You can see some things are monthly, regularly assess your progress with there, but whatever. I'll just use some sort of example. If I copy this over, right? And again, I'm the mentor, I'm sort of setting this up, right? And I have this now as at my disposal to do how I want, right? Or I customize it how I want. But when I'm working this, right? And again, at this level, if I'm working it and I'm going in and I want to change this, right? The power and the ability to change this into daily or whatever is always there. So you have the ability to do daily. I can set this as weekly. I can set this as monthly. So I can change the name. Like this is so close, but I can also then I can provide a description regarding what that is, right? So it gives you a flexibility. And so that recurring goal will stay on their dashboard. They'll see that, and that's something they can work on until it goes away, right? Until you define like when, it's going to start, but it'll stay on there as a healthy habit, right? Same thing, much like if it's a one-time, obviously, if it's a one-time goal, right, and it's not weekly, then you can obviously set it one time. You set the due date, right? That's the normal kind of thing. But you can set these as templates, right, in terms of healthy habits, and that's what they're going to see on their dashboard. So over here, anything that's on their dashboard, right? This one was one time, but they may have a number of things, and that these are all one time, but you could also have daily, you could have weekly, you could have, hey, you know what? The cadence for this is typically Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? So that flexibility exists, and it's pretty easy to set that up. Hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah. So Kevin, so even you can set up and, this ahead of time, like you said your program has for them to apply for 10, different jobs, and you could set your template up that way, you know, so that then anytime you like assign that to somebody to accept. Now, again, they still have to accept it. And that's why we had certain things down at the bottom for, you know, accepting. Then it would pop in, you know, for that element. But I think what I'm getting at is that that person can also add a goal. And I don't know whether, you know, we would want to try to do that on that job, you know, milestone, Kevin, but a person can always add their own recurring goal, or even if they had an actual appointment now set up with such and such, you know, employer, they can put that into their, you know, list of things to
Oh, that's
go
awesome.
and meet with that person on, you know, next week on, you know, February 3rd at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, so they
And
have, like, to here's some story. You know, you've set an established program for them, but you're having a conversation with them. They can ultimately it's like you provide them sort of the guidance, but they also have the flexibility to kind of like, you know what? So I just, you know, I want to do my own goal. They want to be feeling empowered, so they can just hit like, so let's say they're on a goal that you sent, but they also are empowered to provide their own goal, right? So they can, you know, they can do it custom. They can pick from a selection, or they say, you know what, I want to do my own goal and write in their own goal. Or, you know what, I like work with partners to create a resume, but you know what, I want to just take this, right, and I want to tweak that a little bit, right? So they can do that as well. So you can do custom, and then you can modify this, or you can start from scratch, right? Or if I want to make that daily, they have the power to actually create their own custom goals that fit within the program as well. Or you can as well. So either one has the ability to do that. The other nice little features on here as well is that they're using their mobile phone. So again, there's engaging reminders, right? We're not going into that, but there's notifications, right? There's encouraging messaging. Efficacy is really important. So depending on the program, we know the cohort for the organization. So we can pre-can out text messages that go out to them. Not a lot, but encouraging messages reminding them of where they're at on their goals. They also can just so simply put this on their phone. So we all use our calendars. We use our Google calendars, or we typically use our calendars that we see first. So even if they're not on OurREACH and they want to add their goal, they really love these goals or one of the particular goals that they want. So at a milestone level, or, you know, hey, this goal is really important, I want this on my phone, they can add it on their iPhone or they can add it on their Android. It doesn't matter. It'll totally integrate to their phone. And so their pop-up notification and reminders will all be there as well. So it gives them a little power, like, hey, you know, this is really important. I have this reminder every day, but I actually want it on my iPhone, so I get my own notification to remind me to something I want to be working on, or I have a critical date I need to complete by a form. They can quickly add it to their mobile phone. So I'm going to pause. Just any other questions too?
Kevin, how do you see this working pre-release? Because they're not supposed to have cell phones pre-release.
Yeah, so the pre-release is that what we had, I think it was Nafisa. I think we had some discussions early on. So somebody in pre-release, it's a little trickier. And what we found is that we have to work with the organizations that are already providing educational material in the pre-release, because they don't really have access to their phones. So there's a version of this that actually works on an iPad. So that process of pre-release gets a little, to be candid, is a little tough, right? Because you still have to kind of go through the threads of an organization, right, to provide the curriculum inside pre-release, right? So, but the beautiful part is that there's educational materials and different things like that inside, you know, whether it's a prison or whether it's a jail, right, that still would fit in uniquely, but it would probably be more iPad oriented. But that still, I think the harder part of that, Jeanette, is not that some of this educational information on how to use it when they're incarcerated, is that it is going to be a little bit trickier on the pre-release. This is certainly built more in the release and the reintegration because you have mentors, but it's not completely void. But the process of getting some of the information regarding this is a little bit more challenging, right? On that, just for the simple fact that this is geared for, you know, the mobile phone, it's geared for people on a computer or whatever, and they typically getting access to all that in, you know, is tricky. So that's kind of where that's at.
And I would say for our participants, it's not as important to do it pre-release as it is to once they're in the program, but that's just our specific.
Yeah. So there's some separate challenges that we're looking at, but, you know, so clearly the focus, you know, what's really cool about this when, you know, that when folks join in, they're going to see a number of things tying in with pre-release and release. And many of those don't really, even though they're supposed to do them and what we're learning, they're supposed to try to do some of them in pre-release, they don't really always happen, or the process begins and now they're released. And it's kind of what you're saying. It's like, you know, 4 weeks in, but I didn't get to everything. But now they have an app, right, of things that they probably could have worked on pre-release, but they, you know, they're all there, right? They're all there for them to be able to use when they're working with that organization, right? They have them at least at their fingertips now, even though they didn't get to quite all of them at the pre-release stage, if that makes sense.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I think we discussed this, but I'm not quite sure. Is this available for both Android and iPhone?
Yeah, it's a great question. This has totally been built for both Android and for iPhone, right? So you're going to find that you know, when it's hard to show on the phone, but here's sort of the phone view experience for an iPhone, or, you know, so they're going to get a dashboard, right? But it's built like, so they'll have the dashboard, messages, notification, provider corner. Of course, they can come up here, right, and, you know, look at the resources and some other things. But yeah, this has totally been built with in mind for an iPhone or an Android. Absolutely. And the language translation and all that is still all applies for Spanish. And yeah, so yes. And it's built to be mobile friendly, and that's what makes this also unique. A lot of these type of things aren't necessarily mobile friendly, and this is built to be very mobile friendly and a very secure HIPAA compliant. So that's the other piece, right? This has to be secure, right? Exchanging information. So all this stuff is in a HIPAA secure compliant platform.
That's great. Thank you.
That's
One
why
thing I just wanted to mention quickly was, Palash, you had asked for about that, like apply for one job as part of applying for others. I just went in and added that as a goal. You can see how it's now showing up on the person's dashboard. And so, you know, that's an example of how easy it is to just have that person, you know, like working on it.
Yeah.
And then there's actually, if you go, Kevin, to the milestone in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also added a couple of the recurring ones regarding the children that sometimes people might like. But if you're looking at the
this one?
No, sorry, back to the job search one.
Okay, job search, right here.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
If you go down, let's see, I had meet with XYZ employer for job interview. So that's like where the person actually got the job interview. And if you pop it open, Kevin, you'll see that that person has the job interview. I was able to set it for the due date of the 4th, I think it was, if you slide down.
Yeah,
it's
down here
it's
for due
4th.
February 4th. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I this is just a quick on the fly illustration of some of the flexibility that also I think Jeanette was getting at about the personalization. And then that person could integrate that with their calendar if they wanted to get a, you know, sort of a notification on that, like on their Google Calendar.
Yeah.
Would organizations be paying for like a per user basis?
What we want to do, you know, now is to set up like extremely very discounted approach, and that was kind of our overall approach to sort of, we think that this can be very powerful in the reentry space. And so, you know, as I had mentioned in December, it's a very extremely discounted, like we were thinking like maybe $300 for a whole, you know, long list of up to X number of users for
Okay.
6 months, you know, like just to kind of get it going. And then there's a little bit of a, you know, stake that the company has, or sorry, that the nonprofit has, but we would work with each organization to make it affordable. And of course, it's much, you know, the value of this is much higher than that would be.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't do the money for our organization. That is Jeanette. But I was just thinking, because if we could get our graduates on board too,
Yeah.
that would be great. So that we, because, you know, as Jeanette has said, that like our follow-up attempts have been difficult, especially there are still, you know, when we're done with each cohort, not everybody leaves here with a job, or at least not everyone leaves here with maybe the job that they want.
Yeah.
They're on that stepping stone job. So, you know, making communication easier is, you know, makes the outreach that much easier.
Yeah.
I just realized that I'm wearing a red hat, but like it says Kentucky Fried Chicken on it. Just just putting that out
No
there.
worries. No worries.
I like just looked at my own picture and I was like, wait a minute.
It's all good. It's all good. You know, I think one of the things that's powerful too as well is that what you're not seeing here is the behind the scenes text messages, right? The timely text messages, right? That send them back to the app to exactly what they're looking for, right? So you guys have helpful stuff postgraduate or whatever, right? So now they get a text on their phone, but it links them right to the MCR OurREACH WorkWell, you know, if you will, app, right, to help them for the very things that they might need, right? So that's
and so good, and
it's
also amazing for coordination between organizations.
Well, that becomes the real power, right? That's why we're excited. You know, once more folks join in, there could be some very easy collaboration between the organizations, right? And then really looking sort of holistically at the person in terms of really trying to help them. Because we know it's not just the job, right, that they might be dealing with. They might not have a job because of other reasons, right, that are also helpful templates on the app, right?
Or children.
Or children, exactly.
Childcare is one of the biggest obstacles.
Yeah,
right.
Terry, and that's a great.
You don't have to tell me, Terry.
I know, you know.
Yeah, we actually have a you know, some other things that we hadn't even showed here. Like there's lots of milestone builders. There's over 150 of them actually in the platform already that are not even ones that we're showing here, but things like applying for Head Start programs and
nice.
you know, that kind of thing. But then again, having the ability to have the specific resources, and that's where, like, Andrea, I'm not sure if that's how I pronounce your name, Andrea or Andrea, you know,
it's fine. Andrea, either is fine.
But even like you know, we talked about that, like reconnecting with family. I know, like when I deal with reentry for recovery folks, just the whole reconnecting sometimes after they've been through a program is difficult. So there's templates on that as well. So even kind of the point is, like, even they can like explore something that might be helpful to them that wasn't even part of your program, right? That they can kind of take benefit of. So I'm just kind of showing you. You mentioned children, right? So yes, there's the standard sort of, hey, help me with prenatal kind of stuff, like babies coming home, right? Delivering a healthy baby, right? I mean, there's a whole host of, I can give you an idea, like, you know, let's say they just say, you know what, hey, this actually applies to me. I have a situation that would apply, but now, like, what goals, what are things that I need to do regarding for the baby research breast pump, you know, blah, blah, blah. So there's just like even a whole educational tutorial for somebody that might be dealing with, dealing with a baby coming into the home. So there's just other stuff that, you know, might be helpful to them that they can customize themselves, right? But what we have found is you need starter kit templates for them. You don't want them to have to do it completely on their own. You need to at least guide them through it to help them build something to help them.
And the great thing is once they start, they'll also make recommendations of things that they see that would be helpful to them.
Yeah.
You know, those users.
Yes. So Kirsten and I, you know, you want to just say, you know, and we talked to Jeanette, I mean, getting even just the fact that we love what the vision of the MCRC and what they're doing, right? Kirsten and I actually have just set aside OurREACH for a second, set aside Lambda data, right? We love what you guys are trying to do, right? So we are absolutely dedicated, right, to, like, if anybody's signing on with us, right, creating the customized programs that there's core programs that you guys all have, right? Within an hour, like literally laying out the customized templates that you would exactly want for your program, right? And then furthermore, right, looking at, you know, the auxiliary templates that maybe don't fit your core, but you think are pretty valuable that would fit. And those are sort of the bridges, right, between the organizations that Kirsten and I would absolutely love to make sure that the organizations that are part of the MCRC OurREACH, and you can imagine each of you having, whoever belongs is having your own little logo there so they can see like there's some identity, right, to your organization. So that won't go away, right? I want to say that. It's still your organization, right? But the power to be able to kind of create a chat group or whatever that would fit across boards, like just trying to provide the glue between what the MCRC is actually trying to do, right? Beyond just one organization. So I just wanted to add that as well. And anything we can do to using this platform to bridge that, that's what we would love to be able to. If we had 4 or 5 or whatever using this, I think you'd be able to see, especially with the analytics. I haven't even got into the analytics, right? In terms of what you now can see across the bridge in terms of outcomes. That's the key, right? What are the successful outcomes? Yes, I have my 4-week program, but where are they now, right? And be able to demonstrate that is very powerful.
Kevin,
right? I mean, I can show briefly some of the, you know, and I won't, since I talked about it, right?
Kevin,
Yeah.
I need to jump off, but Workwell is all in, and I'm excited to discuss it with my team. So we will set the next meeting to start. We're happy to be the pilot guinea pigs to get this going.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And
Thank you.
honestly, thank you to each of you for, you know, everything that you've been doing.
Thank you. I too need to jump off and prepare for 12.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested in learning more.
Yeah, Terry, that would be wonderful. We'd love to set up a time, and I can even send you a separate email, you know, with a Calendly, and you could, you know, pick a time that works with you for you.
Okay. I'd like to incorporate our Path Forward program, those participants into this app so that so other agencies who are involved can also assist those folks once they've completed our program.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
We would love that.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'll see everyone soon.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Kristen.
Bye.
We're gonna
Thank
talk
you.
later, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yes,
Thank
and
you.
I
Bye-bye.
sent you an
guys,
email
and
as
we look
well.
forward to-
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Great. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
All right, Shay, we'll reconnect. Okay, Shay?
Okay, I think that's
I think
good.
we're good.
All right.
All right. That's
Thank
a wrap.
you.
All right. Thanks. Let me hit my leave.